It's funny when the talks between North Korea and Trump got called off. You could see the media, these people on Twitter, blue check marks. They're all happy and joyous. They're like, ha ha ha, Trump. See, you're not fixing things. This guy, we told you he's gonna go back on his deal. We told you this. We told you that. And then now the deal is back on. And what do they do? They come out and they start to try to do whatever they can to undermine the upcoming talks. Like they're releasing stories about how Kim Jong Un can't pay for like the hotel and his lodging and all this shit, which he is obviously seeing from within his country. And if you know anything about Asia and all these people and like their honor culture and shit, like obviously he's not going to like that. And this is probably going to get him to demand something more in return, or this and that. And then there's tweets of Trump, smiling with this guy from North Korea that handed him a letter, and they went on for like a whole day about a fucking letter, about Trump's comments about a letter, him getting a letter and saying, well, he said it was a very nice letter, but he never really read the letter. It's like the whole day they were talking about this. It's ridiculous what the news cycle focuses on right now. It's just the most nonsensical things. But they're going in there and they're saying, oh, how could Trump stand next to this guy and smile next to this guy who's in prison, like 200,000 people in gulags, and what a piece of shit, this and that. And now something like the Assad and somebody from Russia went to North Korea recently to speak with them, and now you have more pundits coming online saying like, "Oh, look, see, they're gonna align with North Korea and this and that. Trump is getting played by these people. They're probably gonna all work together and start a world war, and we're just not sure what side Trump is going to be on, because they're thinking he's going to side with Assad, North Korea, and Russia against Europe or something. Like I think it was like Ed Kleisenstein or something, some retard on Twitter. Like a bunch of these pundits. It's funny, these conspiracies that they make up, and they say everybody on the right is conspiratorial. Like for example, Melania Trump. Like she hasn't been in the news recently. She hasn't been around. I'm seeing blue check marks saying that she may have been killed. Trump may have beat her. All this shit, right? These wild conspiracies, but nobody's going to call them on that. It's okay if they can make these assumptions, but anybody says anything about Hillary's health, says, oh, well, maybe she's having seizures because she's doing this and stuff, and people are like, no, you're crazy, you're a piece of shit, how could you say that about her? And then we find out she's like lying about her health during the election. She didn't have pneumonia and all this crap. But you see them trying to undermine this, and it's clear that they want North Korea to remain an enemy, like for probably many different reasons. I'm sure the military industrial complex, and these people like that fact that there is a threat, and they can keep propping up this threat and saying like, oh, okay, see, we need to build more weapons, we need to build and sell more weapons to these people because of North Korea and Iran and this and that, right? And also, I'm sure the Democrats and a lot of leftists would be more willing to have this thing resolved if it was Obama doing it or somebody on the left. But because it's Trump, they are willing to undermine something that could potentially save the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. Because as we speak, there are hundreds of thousands of people within North Korea that are in like labor camps, concentration camps, that are being killed all the time. And the leftists coming in trying to undermine these negotiations is really fucked up, because if you're knowingly doing this, then you knowingly know that you're prolonging the suffering of these North Koreans and the potential conflict between North and South Korea, or even China, or I mean Japan, which could kill like millions of people. So, this is more example of the media, how they don't like you, they're not for you, they just care about themselves, and they all work for the left because they're all actively trying to undermine this deal. Give credit if it does happen to President Moon or something, or to Kim Jong Un's sister. Give credit to everybody but Trump or any type of Republican, or maybe if it was John McCain, because they all love John McCain now because he is practically a fucking liberal nowadays. Anyways, that guy's a piece of shit. I can't wait until he fucking dies. Hopefully it's a horrible death, because that is what he deserves, a warmongering piece of shit like him, as well as a lot of people that are knowingly pushing for war in Syria, are knowingly trying to ruin the negotiations between North Korea, because like I said, that is keeping people within gulags and imprisoned in countries, and with less food and all this shit for a longer period of time. And it's like when he gets to near solving something in North Korea, everybody's like, oh my god, this and that. But when it's in Syria, they're like, okay, we need a bomb, we need to stay in there, we need to take out Bashar Assad al-Shashar, or whatever the fuck his name is, Assad. And you see the difference between how they react between North Korea and Syria. And they're acting like before, when Trump was going after North Korea, they're like, oh, he's going to start a world war, World War III, this. And it's like, who is North Korea's allies? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, attacking North Korea would not start a World War III. Attacking Syria and entering Syria, now that could potentially cause a World War III. Now, Russia does not want to give up Syria. Iran does not want to lose them as an ally. And, Russia, Syria, Iran, North Korea would probably jump in there to help them, and a bunch of other countries would come in at that point to create some type of fucking World War III. But you have these journalists like insinuating that, yeah, Trump is going to side with North Korea, Assad, and Russia in one of the upcoming meetings that are going to happen. Like, oh, hopefully he chooses us and he doesn't go against Europe. Because, Europe is a dumb fucking ridiculous nation now. Like, the European Union, that is a small taste of what globalism is. Like, these people, they come in, they're like, okay, now we control Europe, and if Ireland doesn't want to do something, we're going to fuck them over. If the UK doesn't want to do something, we're going to ruin their economy. If Poland doesn't want to take in immigrants, we're going to fuck them over too, and like force them to take people in. So it's like, why would you actively be a part of an organization like that? But, it's a sign to me, the EU, that globalization will never work, because it will never take a foothold. Because you can see already there's countries that want to leave it, and that was just a small experiment of it. There's countries, like UK has already left. So we know that model will not work. It will not work on the grand scale either, no matter how hard they try. Globalism will never fucking work, especially with the way that they want it, because people do have nationalistic tendencies. They believe and they have a cultural identity, and they do not want to be told by somebody who lives 10,000 miles away, or 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles away, how to live and how to act, because they don't know the correct way to do things within your community. Things are different. This is why smaller governments are better, because you'd rather want the community making decisions for you and people around you, other than some bureaucrat that lives far, far away, that has never been in your community, doesn't know anything about you. But hopefully this peace summit, or these talks go through, and I'm not, I don't have the biggest high hopes, because yes, what's it, Kim Jong Un or whatever, he he's lied before and went back on his word and stuff. But Trump, what he is doing is actually way more effective than what the past administrations have done. We can see the effects of it with China already, how they're more willing to play ball. Like the what Kim Jong Un crossed the border into South Korea for the first time ever. One of their leaders did this. There's been many milestones, and the media will come out and tell you, "Oh, this has happened before. We've seen all this before. We've seen all this before." But that's not the case. This is new, and I have good hopes that actually there will be lots of progress with North Korea in the upcoming future, because Trump is not an idiot. Like he knows when to use a carrot and when to use a fucking stick. And with North Korea, you gotta use a fucking stick repeatedly on them. Otherwise, they just will not play ball. They will not. They're like a little toddler, and that's testing their bounds, and they're going to keep pushing and pushing and see how much they can get away with, right? So you got to know how to deal with these people, and Trump is doing the same thing with the tariffs, right? There is all these countries that are indeed fucking over America, including Canada, which I am not against the tariffs on Canada, because we get a lot of our steel from China, which breaks the NAFTA agreement, because we get it, we repackage it, and then we sell it to Americans at a higher value. So within the NAFTA trade agreement, that is not allowed. And Mexico does this, Canada does this, Europe does this. So, this is going to eventually, what's going to happen with the whole trade agreement and all this stuff, like America, Trump will come out on top on this, because first of all, when it comes to Canada, he's putting tariffs on our steel. We import like 50% of our fucking steel from like America. We do a lot of our business, and the tariff response by Trudeau is not going to be effective, and he is going to cave first. And if Trudeau doesn't, which maybe he won't, because he's such a fucking idiot. He doesn't even care about our economy. He's just gonna keep printing money and saying, "See, I'm fighting for you Canadians." I hate this shit. He always says like, "Canadians want this and Canadians want this." Man, you don't fucking speak for me. You don't speak for other Canadians. But Trump is using a stick with this whole tariff thing, because you can go up to Europe and other countries all you want, and they'll tell you what you want to your face, right? But they're still going to go around. They're still going to go around the laws, the loopholes, to make more money. Like, this is just what's going to happen. This is why you don't even need trade agreements, this and that, because often what they end up doing, it's just like the whole TPP thing. Like, well, you don't need all these things to make an agreement to sell shit between between countries. Like, what that TPP thing did was allowed like corporations to sue countries and shit. So this is what they do. They put like other laws within these trade laws to fuck over other people and to increase globalization, because this is what is doing. It is doing. It's like, since these NAFTA laws have been put in place and all this shit, job growth has not been going up. Like, the amount of debt in your country next to the amount of GDP that you're making, you're making way more debt than you are GDP. Your country is not improving. You guys, most Western countries, their wealth is off of debt. Like, and eventually this debt is not going to be sustainable anymore, and all this wealth that we have is going to pretty much evaporate. So, we can keep going with this whole globalization thing with the whole NAFTA agreements and this, but all this is doing is it is making these rich fucking corporations and stuff richer and richer and richer. And people are wondering, why is the income gap keep increasing? Why does it keep increasing? This is the fault of capitalism. This is late stage capitalism. It's like, we have not had capitalism in a long fucking time, or probably never really had it, because as soon as the Federal Reserve came around, all this shit, as soon as you start regulating the economy, you no longer have capitalism. You have this huge monstrosity that we have now, which they blame as capitalism. We have corporatism, we have people, we have favoritism within the economy, we have corporate welfare, we have this other type of welfare, for poor people. This is not a free economy. This is not a capitalist state. We're living in a huge socialistic state, and this is what is creating the wealth gap distribution. If you look in socialist countries like back in the day, or communist ones like Russia, everybody was poor, and then all the rich people were people working in the government, or people working there. Like, that was the biggest wealth really distribution. Yeah, sure, everybody was poorer, so there was maybe less of a gap between people, but like literally they had like everybody's money and everybody had like nothing. So you would much rather have in a capitalist system where your boss makes millions of dollars, but at least you get to make a couple $100,000 a year and you get to live comfortably and well. But the system that we have now is no longer like that. We don't have free markets, and people will try to convince you that we do, and we're living in this capitalist society, but that is not the fucking case. But I'm completely went off track and off topic. I was talking about North Korea and how the media was trying to undermine this deal, or this recent upcoming interaction that Trump and Kim Jong-un is going to have. And I don't think it's going to work. I think that Kim Jong-un is still a rational actor, and he can probably see through the media's manipulation to some degree, or maybe not. But I don't think he will, and I think this deal will go through, and things will start to be better for North Korea. And then when things start getting better, all they're going to do is they're going to come out and say, this is actually Obama, and Obama did this, and he set this up in place. Oh, this 10 years ago, and he did this, and blah, blah, blah. Obama's responsible for the economy. Obama's responsible for this. Obama's responsible for their killing ISIS. Everything. He's responsible for everything. And even when Trump leaves office, and just say he does 8 years, and it's somebody else, and it's still going good, they're going to be, oh, well, that's because Obama and how great he was all those years ago. Trump just coasted along, made those gains keep going. Like, you look at the job numbers, people are like, oh, that was under Obama, it was happening anyways. And it's like, what, people that don't understand, they're looking at the straight numbers, right? And they're like, see, 2 million in 2008, he added 2.5 million jobs, and Trump just added 2 million jobs this year. It's like, this happened after Obama took presidency after a massive recession. So after recessions, what happens is you will have a massive amounts of job growth. But Obama had the slowest job growth in history, right? After a recession. That was because of the massive bailouts, because of the massive amounts of money he put back into the economy. If he did nothing after the recession happened, then the economy would have picked up that much faster, and there wouldn't be another bubble on its way right now. And when that bubble bursts, what's going to happen? They're going to blame Trump. They're going to say it's him because of his tax policies, because of this, because of that. They're going to say it's because of capitalism. And they're going to say the solution to this capitalism is more socialism. And then they're priming us for it. People like Bernie Sanders is getting more and more popular. And this bubble that is in place right now, that was increased by the Obama administration with the bailouts and all these things, the student loan bubble, the car loan bubble, that there's going to be another housing bubble, there's a monetary bubble. Like, once these things collapse, it's going to be capitalism which is blamed, and you're going to get somebody like Bernie Sanders who's going to be your next president, if there is some type of recession, because people are fucking stupid, and they're gonna be like, see, yeah, it's because already you see, they're like, see, Trump is deregulating the banks that protected the the crash and this and that. And I just seen an article like a couple hours ago. Oh, is Trump going to create another meltdown? This and that. And it's like, no, if there is a meltdown, it was coming already. It was gonna happen already. And now the things that Trump did, it was good and are helping and may help solve the situation, but probably it won't, and it's going to collapse anyways. And who's going to take the blame? It's going to be people on the right. It's going to be conservatives. And then yeah, you're going to you're going to be living in a Venezuela hellhole. So hopefully that does not happen. And that would be the fault of pretty much the leftist media and stuff pushing people in that direction, because clearly that is not the solution. More socialism, more government spending, bigger governments is not going to help us. That is what is creating the problems in the Middle East. That is why you have a massive immigration crisis right now, because your governments went into other countries, bombed them, created these situations that now you have to take care of. So the only solution to a lot of our problems is just reducing the size of the government or abolishing it altogether. But that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter and the other links below. Take it easy.